Artem Vakhitov, the last guy to beat Alex Pereira in kickboxing, just successfully made his Dana White Contender Series debut and finished this guy in the first round. Now, I just want to say this about Artem. There's a reason I'm making this video. The hype is real. I believe in the hype. This guy is literally the next best thing. I took a look back at like some of his fights in kickboxing. First of all, he only ever lost to 2 guys in kickboxing. Both fights are highly controversial. So this is a guy who, when he loses, is never a blowout or never he doesn't get knocked out. It's not something of some crazy value. Every single one of his losses have been robberies. That's what people are saying. And I watched back the Alex Pereira one specifically. It was definitely a robbery. Kickboxing scoring is so confusing because it looks like the guy who lands the more meaningful shots and outstrikes the person can still lose based on like weird things like ring control. So it's very strange. So he lost to 2 people, like I said, in his kickboxing career. One guy by the name of Solo and the other guy by the name of Alex Pereira, as we know. Now, Alex Pereira, when he beat Artem, Alex Pereira, you could tell by his face, he didn't believe he actually won the fight. Alex body language, he showed that he didn't actually win the fight, or he didn't believe that he won the fight. Kind of similar to how like Israel Adesanya and Alex Pereira's first kickboxing fight went. It's almost like there was a clear winner that everyone thought he was going to win, including the announcers. But when the score is read, Alex Pereira was gifted the win. Now, this happened with Artem. So Artem did run it back with Alex Pereira second time around. And this time around, he kind of put a bad beating on Alex Pereira, winning by majority decision. So there's still one judge that gave it to Pereira, but it makes sense knowing that Pereira was like a really big guy in the glory kickboxing. Everyone loved him. However, Artem Vakhitov got the last laugh on Alex Pereira. Since then, Artem actually went to a Muay Thai fight where he also had a successful unanimous decision win against Pascal Torre. So he went into Muay Thai too. So he's in different type of strikings. He's done kickboxing, Muay Thai, and then he has went into MMA. In his MMA debut, actually, he has 1 loss in the MMA record. And you're probably like, oh my God, how could someone solve that puzzle in his MMA debut? He actually hurt himself in the fight, so he got injured in the fight, so that's why he lost the fight. So the loss on his record right now, I don't want you guys to look at it and be like, oh, he's lost to who? He got injured in the first round, he lost there, that's it. After that fight, his next 3 fights were 3 finishes, all in the first round, including the one in the Dana White Contender Series. So this guy is a finisher with some serious power, and not only the crazy finishing ability, he has crazy striking skill in general. He's not the biggest guy. When like Alex Pereira had a significant size advantage over him when they did fight, it was just the fight IQ of him. He trains with RoboCop. Anyone who knows RoboCop, he's one of the craziest fucking marauders in the UFC, dog. This guy, he doesn't have a hairline, first of all, but that's not surprising. But it's not the fact that he doesn't have a hairline. It's the fact that Artem's going in there, going toe-to-toe with someone like RoboCop day in, day out. So that shows the level of opposition he's fighting against. Now, this is what they should do if the UFC is smart, bro. The UFC, obviously, when Alex Pereira came to the UFC, there was a storyline behind it. He beat Israel Adesanya 7-8 years ago. So 7-8 years ago, he beat Adesanya like not even anywhere close to when Adesanya was in the UFC. This guy just beat Alex Pereira 3 years ago. 2021, September 2021. That's when he last beat Alex Pereira in a significant decision win where it was no secret that Artem beat him. It wasn't like he was losing to Pereira, then he knocked out Pereira. It wasn't that he outskilled Alex Pereira from start to finish and beat him in a majority decision. That was only 3 years ago. Now we know this guy come to the MMA. He's transitioned well. He's been knocking out all these guys in the first round. I just want to talk about his Dana White Contender Series matchup because, like, as you guys know, when Alex Pereira first came to the UFC, favorable matchups. He got 3 fights and then a title fight. Unranked striker, then Sean Strickland, a ranked striker who's going to be forced to stand and trade with Alex Pereira. Of course, Alex Pereira passed the test. For some reason, this was what confused me the most. They gave this guy with all this hype, a guy who can wrestle, grapple. Like, I don't know why they gave him. This guy was shooting takedowns. He actually did take down Artem. Artem showed a good job getting back in his feet. Artem showed offensive and defensive clinch work. He showed he could work in the clinch. He showed that he could defend takedowns. I believe he went 6 for 6 unofficially on the scorecards for takedown stats. He was tripped up a little bit, but I don't think it scored for a takedown because he didn't have any control of Artem because Artem got it really quickly. So he has great takedown defense. He has great offensive and defensive clinch work, and he can strike, and he has power. The fact that the UFC didn't want to give him a striker to give him a highlight reel knockout, Artem said, fuck it. Don't got to give me a striker, bro. Give me a well-rounded fighter. I'm going to go in there and I'm still going to finish him in the first round. I was honestly impressed by that. What should the UFC do next is the question. They should do exactly what they did for Alex Pereira to Izzy. Just because we know Alex Pereira is, 37? He's not going to stick around for like 3-4 more years. We know this. He's going to retire sooner rather than later. That being said, they need to know that Artem being 33 is still young. He's going to be in the UFC for a good amount of time. Alex Pereira will not. They should give him some random ranked light heavyweight. I don't care who, bro. Give him anyone who's a striker. Give him the same treatment, UFC. Don't do me like this. Give Artem the same treatment you gave Pereira. Give him an unranked striker, a bum that's supposed to go in there and get knocked out. I don't care if you find him from the sidewalk, brother. Find a guy with no hairline eating some Cheetos off the ground on the sidewalk. Put him in the octagon. Let Artem finish him. Let Artem build himself. And then, hear me out, chat, and you just got to hear me out. Give him Yuri Prochazka. I want him to go against Yuri Prochazka, who's hyped up as one of Alex Pereira's best wins at light heavyweight. This is just a fact. It's not Alex's fault that that's his best win in light heavyweight. It's just that he hasn't won against any good opposition in light heavyweight, you know? So give him Yuri Prochazka. You guys are probably like, dude, man, I don't know, Kenny. Like, you know, I feel like Yuri Prochazka would go in there and I feel like he'll beat him. You can think that all you want, and I love that. Artem, who's known for having great finish ability, a great fundamental striker, has went the distance with Alex twice, one time getting robbed, and the other time beating him significantly. Someone who's defensively sound and offensively sound, against someone like Yuri Prochazka, who's praised for being one of the best strikers, right? He's such a great win on Alex Pereira's resume. Watch how Yuri's lack of defense goes against a 7-time champion in glory kickboxing. Watch how that lack of defense... all that weird shit. Watch out how all that weird shit closes down when he goes against Artem. If the UFC is smart, all he needs is really one unranked fight to get the fast track treatment. And you guys are probably like, what the hell? Why would he get 3 fights in a title fight? Doesn't make sense. A Dana White contender series win an unranked fighter than fucking Yuri Prochazka? Bro, where was this energy when Alex Pereira had 2 unranked fighters and then a title shot? Do the same thing with Artem. I know people aren't going to want this because, like, they don't want to see Alex Pereira in any risk. But, brother, it's one of those things you kind of have to hurry it up because, like, Alex is old. Izzy wasn't even old. It was just Izzy was running through the whole weight class. People could say the same about Alex Pereira. And you're probably like, Kenny, where's Magomed Ankalaev fit in all this? Well, we know that on paper, the UFC doesn't want Ankalaev to beat Alex Pereira because if Ankalaev beats Alex Pereira, they feel like that's going to ruin a lot of future fights because the UFC wants to see Alex go up to heavyweight and, you know, fight some of these heavyweight champions. UFC wants to see Alex Pereira go down to 185, fight DDP, or DDP come up and fight him. UFC wants to now see Alex Pereira fight this Artem guy. There's so many things in Alex Pereira's story, so what the UFC wants and needs is him to remain champ. The UFC feels as if they give Magomed Ankalaev a shot, that puts a big risk on a lot of potential future fights, which is why you see the UFC protecting him and the fight never happening. Is it some of Alex not wanting to fight? Yes. Is it majority of the UFC not wanting them to fight because they don't want to risk losing their cash cow? Absolutely. And I don't know how this is so hard for most people to grasp and have a good understanding of. But the truth of the matter is they know Alex Pereira as champion makes them the most money, and I love it, honestly. Like, listen, although I do think Ankalaev's going to beat Alex Pereira, do I think they're going to fight anytime soon? Not really. I'd be lying if I told you guys. I feel like even if Ankalaev destroys Rakic, they're not going to want to push for that fight. It just is what it is. So it's coming to the point where I'm kind of accepting that. I know I got some people who love Ankalaev, you know, who'll be coming to my channel. But, bro, I think we got to accept that this fight is unlikely to happen. Like, unless Ankalaev knocks him Rakic out in the first round, you know, and, like, begs on his knees. And, like, if he does what Bilal says, Dana, please, just give me my shot. You never know, dog. Like, he might say, you know what, fuck it, dude. I'm done doing this to you. But we obviously know Ankalaev deserves it. But this storyline between Artem and Pereira just seems that significant. It's almost like Alex Pereira met his Alex Pereira. That it's almost like this. It's almost identical to the Adesanya story. Adesanya is a champion of the world, run through everyone. All of a sudden, this guy who knocked him out one time was like, I beat this guy one time. So he's trying to come into the UFC. You know, Alex Pereira came to the UFC and ended up being great. Could be very similar to Artem. And I remember Alex Pereira said this about Artem. He says, this guy is not me. He's not Adesanya. He can't just come to the UFC and get what he wants. Well, buddy, he's in the UFC now. And it's kind of crazy because Alex Pereira is one of the people who said, you know what, give him the contract. Because Dana White talked about after the fight, he went and talked to Alex Pereira, and Alex Pereira's like, you know what, give him the contract. I want to see him in the UFC. So, and they're very friendly. They're very cordial, what I've seen. But of course, like, this cordialness is going to go real quick when they know they're going to be booked to fight. And this fight just makes the most sense for Alex Pereira because, like I said, Alex Pereira fans don't want to see him go against someone who's going to wrestle. First of all, Ankalaev doesn't even wrestle, but I see the narrative, oh, he's Russian, that equates to wrestling. By the way, brother, Artem is Russian too. Artem Vakhitov is Russian too, buddy. Like, look at that last name, dog. That boy Russian, that boy is as Russian as it gets. People like to paint the narrative that Russians are only wrestlers. They're not. They're not only wrestlers. This guy's clearly a world-class kickboxer, a better kickboxer than Alex Pereira. That's just a fact. And he's going to go, and now he's in the UFC. He's going to kickbox against Alex Pereira. Storylines like this is what makes UFC intriguing. Storylines like this is like what made someone like Alex Pereira the face of the company. After Israel Adesanya was the face of the company, first of all, when Alex Pereira first came in, people forgot about this, but Alex Pereira was a villain. They were booing him in the first Izzy fight, booing him in the second Izzy fight. Izzy knocked him out. They celebrated. And then he slowly became the face in the company and just started being glazed and cheered because his attitude and who he is. Artem, I know protards are probably going to hate on Artem. I already seen some tweets like, this guy sucks. I already see them hating, and they're supposed to do that. That's what's going to happen. Chat, this is really just like a real life movie. Y'all just got to see it from my perspective. I know Artem's going to get all this hate. Oh, screw this dude Artem, man. He's not cool, man. He's so respectful. I still hate him, bro, because he's fucking Russian. And the fact that he's Russian and 99% of the MMA community hates Russian fighters just because they're Russian and stuff. Yeah, they're going to hate this guy just because he's respectful and he's really good and really talented. So if Alex Pereira and Artem fights, who do I think's going to win? Well, first of all, that's kind of deep in the water. But it's just the fact that he's been tested by multiple things now. He's shown clinch work, defensive wrestling, and all these other things before Alex has shown any of that. Alex first shown that against Israel Adesanya, another kickboxer. Artem's actually gets showing it and displaying it against other grapplers, people who know how to grapple, know how to wrestle. So I really believe in Artem's like overall ability is better than most people think, and he's fundamentally sound. He said about Alex Pereira specifically before this, he says the best way to beat Alex Pereira is not to do too much. Like, people are trying too much, they're respecting him too much. You got to go in there and fight. And I believe Artem is going to be the perfect person to bring that fight to Alex Pereira, which is why I don't see any other way of this fight being delayed. It shouldn't be delayed. It shouldn't be postponed. This guy's 33. Alex Pereira is 37. Alex Pereira is going to retire in like 3-4 years. So before he does this, man, make Artem, make Pereira, make that fight happen. And let's see how this plays out, because I'm telling you right now, this Artem guy is someone to look out for, so keep your eye on him. But that's it for me. Let me know what y'all think about him. Let me know what y'all think about his performance. I think he performed well. Like I said, I'm going against someone who's well-rounded in the grappling department. But like I said, they didn't give him no easy cakewalks like they gave to Pereira. So let's see what happens when they fight. That's it for me, though, and God bless. 2, 3.